Guys, I want to talk to you about how do you know if you're a strong person or not. And I'm not talking about physical strength. I'm talking about the real strength, the strength that matters. Okay? The strength that defines you and defines your character. Okay, I'm talking about the spiritual strength. For those that don't know me, my name is Excel. Just a regular guy, regular problems, and a lot of experience. Today I want to talk to you guys about strength and how do you know if you are a strong individual or not. And I'm not talking about physical strength, right? I'm talking about the strength that defines your character. The strength that makes you who you really are, right? I'm talking about the spiritual strength. Spiritual strength is something that I look for in people, especially people that I don't know. The first thing that I want to see is how strong they are. Why? Because I don't like to be associated. I don't like to be around people that are weak-minded. They are closed-minded, I should say. I try to stay away from people like that. In order for me to really take my time and spend it with somebody, right? I have to make sure that that person is bringing something into my life. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be the smallest thing. But I want something positive from this individual or person. As I grow older, my time becomes way more valuable, right? So I don't want to spend my time with people that is not going to bring anything positive into my life. The strength that I'm talking about, the spiritual strength, is something that I use, or there's something that I look for, and the way I do it is by using markers, right? The quicker I find out how strong you are, the quicker I know if I should stay away from you or listen to what you have to say. Simple as that, right? This is done by my brain automatically. I don't think about it. My brain just does it. One of the markers that I use to see how strong you are is compassion, right? So depending on how much compassion you have for others, it will tell me how strong you are. Now, this is just one of the markers. There are different ways to see how strong a person is, okay, spiritually, or if they're going to bring something positive or not. Compassion is, to me, the number one marker, right? If you are very compassionate, to me, you are a very strong individual, soul. I want to be around you. I want to see what you have to say. I want to see what lessons you learn to get to that level of strength, right? Again, this is something done by my brain. I don't think about it. It just happens. Again, as I get older, time is more valuable. So I try to spend my time doing positive things, right? Things that are going to make me better, help my family, help my people. Compassion is something that grew the stronger I got. I'm compassionate with anything that is weaker or smaller than me. Now, I'm not talking about the actual size of an animal or person. I'm talking about the soul, right? The spiritual part, their strength. And this is important. Why? Because if you don't judge, well, I'm not going to say judge because I don't like the word I will say, if you don't see these things and you apply them in your life or your everyday life, then you're pretty much wasting time, right? You don't want to be going through life just going through it. You want to catch the best you can. You want to be the best thing you can so that you can teach others and you can learn from others, right? That's why I try to stay away from closed-minded people, right? When you're closed-minded and nothing can penetrate that bubble that you live in, to me, you're not going to bring anything positive into my life. The only thing that you can bring into my life is teach me to stay away from you, right? I know it doesn't sound very nice, but it is what it is. It helps me keep my sanity, because closed-minded people will always end up being the victim. So they will push you until you snap, and when you snap, they'll claim victim, right? And you don't want that type of draw of power, you don't want that type of personality or soul around you, because all it does is it sucks your good energy, right? And you don't want that. So as I become wiser and older, I learn how to read these markers. And it like I said, it is important for me, because I want to get better, right? I don't want to go back. I don't want to get worse. I want to get better in every single point of my life, right? So whether it's better my physique, better my mentality, better the way I am, the way I treat people, the way I do business, the way everything, whatever it is, I just want to become better. And one of the things that I look in people is exactly that: how strong they are, to see what they can bring into my life positive, right? And I will try to compete with that, right? So that I can become better. Not compete against them, compete with myself to become to that level, right? If that level is greater than mine. As I went, as I got older, life introduced a lot of people in my life, in which I was able to pick the best things they had to give, and you pick them. You pick the best things and you put them in your files or folders or in your life, and you apply them, right? You use them. Qualities. Good qualities is something that I look when I meet somebody. What kind of good qualities do they have? Can they be used? Can I use them? Are they going to make me better? And if they do, then I use them. I was never able to talk, right? Like right now it's easy because I'm talking to the camera. I'm not looking at anybody, but I know that a lot of people is going to see my message. So, you know what I mean? That's in the back of my head. So it makes it a little bit harder for me to express myself. But I'm trying. I'm trying to get better at it, if you will. Why it's important to be around strong people spiritually? Because if you learn how to use the same factors that they use, right? Or I will say you learn the experiences they went through to get to what they are now. If you don't have to go through the same experiences and you can learn, right, by their experiences, that makes you a very strong person. That makes you not only strong, but very smart. Because a lot of these experiences are very hurtful, right? And if somebody had the experience already and they can tell you how much it hurt, why would I want to go through the same? I can just learn what they learn by what they're telling me and apply it in my life, right? Now, some people need to go through the experience, me included. I was one of them. Now that I got older, I don't want to, right? I've been hurt too many times, so I try to avoid that. So what I do is I look at other people's, I look at other people's souls, and I see the markers, right? I see the markers, and I say or think, okay, his markers are this high. There's a lot of things that I can learn from this individual. And then I, use my time to learn from that person. And then we can share. Most of the people that are strong are willing to learn from you. So it makes it's very interesting the way it works, because you want to learn from them, but they want to also learn from you. This is when a person is really, really strong, right? Weak people think they know it all, and they don't want to learn, right? And when that person doesn't want to learn, they don't want to teach either. So that's what makes them closed-minded, because they don't want to use their time to learn from you or to teach you anything. That's why one of the things that I learned going through life is you accept everybody for who they are. You just place them where they belong, right? People like that, closed-minded people, they belong way in the back of the line, right? You try to keep next to you, on your right, on your left, the people that are willing to teach and the people that are willing to learn from you, right? I use that, I applied that in my life, and that made me grow stronger, right? Why do I think I'm strong or stronger now? Because of my level of compassion that I have for others. I became very compassionate, right? So my level of compassion is really high, so that lets me know that I'm stronger now. Not only that, I had to freaking learn from the punches of life, and now the reason why I know that my compassion level is higher is because I already went through. I don't want other people to go through the same thing that I went through, right? Especially people that I care for, like my kids, my wife, my friends. I try to tell them the experiences that I had because I'm compassionate. I don't want them to go through the same pain that I went through, right? When I'm next to another individual that is compassionate, that person is going to share with me the pain that he went through with whatever, lessons in life, so that I don't have to. That's what makes you strong, right? That's what makes your spirit strong. That's how I know that you are a strong individual. Life put in my path a lot of strong people, the same way that he put a lot of weak people. The strong people that are in my life, I can probably count them with one hand, right? These are the people that are always next to me, that I orbit around, that I try to stay close to, right? That includes my wife, that includes family members, and special, right? A friend of mine, and I want to give a shout out. His name is Anthony Aziz, and this is a person that is very strong. His spirit, it's very strong, and the way I know is because of the compassion that he has for other people, right? For other souls. I'm gonna generalize with souls because it could be anything. It could be an animal, it could be anything that has a soul, right? And he taught me. He's one of the people that I look up to, and it's very important in my life because of the strength, the spiritual strength that he has. He took the time to teach me his whatever he went through in life, right? And I will do the same because, of course, I see him as a very strong person and I want to catch up to his level, right? So that trying to catch up makes me a better person because I'm only looking for greatness. I'm not looking for anything else. And that's what he has to bring in my life, right? So it's something that I look up to and I use his markers for me to get there, right? Now, I'm like that with a lot of things, right? When it comes to my business, I want to be next to people that make money so that I can use their experience for me to grow bigger, right? And through life, through whatever. Experience is something that it's very important to learn from. And if you can learn from another person that went through that and you don't have to, even better, okay? So that's the smart thing to do. But sometimes we don't have that. Sometimes we gotta go through the experience ourselves, experience the pain, learn from it, and move on. But those experiences are the ones that you have to share with other people, starting with your kids, right? Remember, when your kids are small, they're just a blank book. You gotta start writing, you know what I mean, into their book so they can learn. Again, the same thing. Some kids don't learn by your experiences. They need to have their own. And you let them, right? You let them go through that. You let them go through that because you know what's going to happen at the end. Unless it's something that is going to harm them physically or you know what I mean, or mentally to a point where they might not be able to recover and you know it, then you share the experience with them. Or at least, you know what I mean, you try to talk to them so that they can understand why is it that you don't want them to go through the experience, right? Being around strong spiritual people makes you not only stronger, not only better, but more compassionate. And compassion, it's a beautiful thing to have, right? Now, weak people think that compassion is weakness. When you see somebody that they only think about themselves, they don't like to share thoughts, they don't like to, you know what I mean? These people, the closed-minded people, again, is the people that you need to place where they belong in your life. You don't want these people on your right, and you don't want them on your left. You want them in the back, way in the back, where you know they're there, but they're not going to affect anything in your life going forward, right? It's important for people to understand this because it will teach you what to look for when you meet somebody. Especially now that there's a lot of, you know, people trying to get into relationships and stuff like that. And I see it all the time. I see it on apps like TikTok and places like that where girls and guys are talking about there's no good people out there to start. Yes, they are. You're just not reading the right markers, right? Be compassionate. Be willing to learn from other people's experiences and also be able to share those experiences. That right there will make you a stronger person. Again, my name is Excel, just a regular guy with regular problems and a lot of experience. And I hope that helps you.